Hi everyone. We are just starting. This is the first time I'm posting this on Instagram. But Jason and I have been doing the second cup of coffee with Jason and Pili. I actually have to go make my second cup of coffee. Haven't had that yet. And during this episode of this, we will be talking about actually a slew of things that, like, from finding your tribe to really making sure that you're taking care of your kiddos. Yes, sir.
So we'd love to hear from you. Love to hear what topics we can focus on, what value we could bring more to. We did think today would be great to really just right now with everyone pretty much dealing with the same thing, but separately. It's an interesting case where finding your tribe becomes more difficult. How can you find your team, find your right people to be around, find everything that should be happening in your day to go with you? And with that said, part of the conversation today is going to be, well, how do you do that? How do you do that in a time when ultimately we're separated, but we're still trying to make the connections? And instead of looking for how can you find someone to help you, well, if you can turn it around and Dave Meltzer has this great thing. How can I help you? But also, do you know anyone that may be able to help me? So ultimately, that's the greatest thing, right? How can you bring value to others? How you can bring others, but at the same time, ultimately be the one that is being so specific that you can also have people help you by showing them what you're looking for and bringing that value to them. So I need you to take a minute while I figure out the live, what's happening here.
Awesome. Well, so like Jason was saying, we're waiting for more people to jump on. But while we're waiting, please grab your second cup of coffee, grab some tea, grab some water. I'm just going to kind of go into like what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to be completely honest. After the last, we got done with the second phase of 75 hard. And between the second phase and the third phase, it's actually a test because there's so much time between the two phases. And if you don't know what I'm talking about with 75 hard, it's basically a challenge that Andy Frisella put together, and it is amazing. It is 5 or 6 different things that you have to follow, including 2 workouts. One of them has to be outside, both of them have to be 45 minutes. You drink a gallon of water, you take a progress picture every day, you put yourself on a diet. And by diet, I mean, like for us, we did intermittent fasting. And then it's a slew of other things depending on what phase that you're in. So we did 75 hard, we did phases 1 and 2, and between 2 and 3, I started drinking again. And when I say drinking, it was like I'm having a glass of wine at the end of the night. And for a lot of you, that's not really considered drinking. But for me, I haven't done that for a long time. So today I finally decided to stop. No more drinking. And I'm going to go back to 75 hard, back to the systems that instilled in me. So I'm not going to do the 2 workouts a day. I'm not going to start that yet. I'm going to slowly jump back on. I'm going to call it basically 30 easy. So during this 30 easy, I'm going to do 45 minutes of exercise daily, drink 1 gallon of water, and no drinking. So this is how I'm going to slowly get not that I was being unhealthy, but with everything that's happening, I let my health sort of take a back seat. I wasn't being unhealthy, but there's always ways to up level your life, up level what you're trying to do, up level your mentality, your health. And even if you consider yourself a healthy person, what's the next step? Really, what's the next step in your growth? How can you take it to that next level? That's what I challenge you to do today. Like, figure out what you need to do to take it to that next level. Take it to another point where you can continue to grow. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. If you're just joining us, I'm talking about 75 hard and how Jason and I started with 75 hard, went to phase 1, phase 2, and we're waiting to do phase 3. And during this wait, of course, COVID-19 happened, and then our lives, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I all of a sudden got really busy. Jason really went full force into the business. I went full force into taking care of our family, and both of our worlds, of course, collide. But the thing is, like, we have our own responsibilities, and in these responsibilities, I all of a sudden was not taking as good care of myself, and I started drinking again. And
Which you haven't really had a drink in almost
since
a long time, 5 years.
Yeah, since our
and really,
like
a drink for Pili is had a glass of wine at night.
Exactly.
And so we're not.
I'm not talking about like
overusing
binging or overusing or any of that, but even a glass of wine, like I started with like a sip, and then I went to like a small pour, and I went to half a glass, and then now I'm probably like at a full glass now, and it's not really big, and I'm not saying that I'm hitting the bottle, but it's different. It's a completely different animal for me. So I decided to stop. So if you are at this moment where your vices are starting to come back, then I challenge you again to figure out how you can up level and stop doing those vices. So the other reason why I started and came up with this challenge for myself is that last night I had the opportunity and honor to be a part of a small group of women who got together to discuss everything that's happening in our lives. And this is part of my friend Becky Robeson's group called Next Level Wives. So we talked together and we were all discussing those things that we're doing or not doing in our lives and for our families, and how we could help each other. And this is what Jason and I were talking about when you want to find your tribe. This could be a group of women. This could be men and women. This would be just men. This could be for your kids. Like, find a tribe for your kids, because those poor darlings are probably missing their friends, and they don't have the access that we do to the internet, especially if they're younger. So if they're younger children, and for instance, our oldest is 5, he just started kindergarten, but he's been in preschool basically his entire life. So you can imagine he's gone out from that structure of being in preschool to being at home all the time. I don't think he misses school all that much, but still, it's a completely different animal for him.
But they realize there's a change, right? And ultimately, you can hear all different kinds of things, but let's not be naive. We're not going to go back to just exactly how life was when someone snaps your fingers, whether it be May 1st, May 15th, May 20th. There's going to be a lot of different layers that go back to this. And so if we're having a hard time right now and things are tough, and we're assuming that everything is going to become perfect the second that things open up again, well, you're setting yourself up for defeat, because it's not like we're going to run back out and have packed stadiums and packed events or, large gatherings in restaurants. This is going to be a wave where there's going to be control in some parallel. And so finding your happiness for what you're doing, find your happiness for who you are today, is ultimately going to give you the guidance to be the best version of yourself. And I think so much time we get lost in hoping for this future, or hoping for, what was the past. And all we can do is be present. Someone was asking about, finding silence in your day and finding your time, which we do every morning. And it's really just to give ourselves just a moment of clarity here, where we can have a couple moments to ourselves to just be at ease, right? Because if we get to the point that we start the day in mass chaos, well, yeah, that's how the rest of the day is going to go, because we're going from chaos into chaos. And Pili's bringing her piece with her second cup of coffee here. Aloha Garona, as you can see it. But if you're thinking about, okay, well, I am in that chaos, well, then take it back. You can do things right now to take back your day. Just doing 6 deep breaths right now, in and out, will ultimately just change your mindset. Just smiling is ultimately going to change your mindset. Just having the thought process of, hey, this is happening for me and not to me, will change your mindset. And imagine you brought that today, that this is happening for me. that if you are having a tough time in business, or having a tough time in anything, your fitness, your finances, your relationships, that this is happening for me. Now, what can I do to take advantage of what is happening for me? Changing your mindset into that ultimately brings new clarity to the whole situation. So when we get up in the morning, we try and take their time. And if I get up early and have my time, and then Pili gets up a little bit later and maybe the kids are up with her, then I'll take a moment to be with the kids and just enjoy my moment with the kids in the morning, so Pili can have her moment just to collect herself, have her mind at peace, so we can get going with the day.
And it makes all the difference. And I know those mommies and daddies up that are listening to this, that wake up with your children, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You wake up with your kids and all of a sudden it's like, boom, off to the races, especially now that we're all homeschooling. It's like you never get that time away from your little ones. Not that, I mean, that makes it sound so bad, but you do need personal time. Give yourself grace, give yourself that moment. Give yourself that moment to fill your cup, so you can overflow and fill the cups around you, which is your children, your husband, and it's all a give and take. So when I wake up with the kids, if I don't wake up early, then I'm waking up with the kids. If I wake up with the kids, Jason knows that, okay, now I have to give Pili, even if it's like 6 minutes, you can get in a meditation, you can stretch, you can change your clothes, wash your face, brush your teeth. You can do all of that in 6 minutes. I've done it. Yeah. It works, and it makes you feel like a completely different person.
So when I have the best time or the shortest time is when I get some of my best workouts. I'll just sit there and do 20 free squats, 20 sit-ups, 20 push-ups. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's something to get yourself going. And it's more of just creating routine and creating habits, so you can touch on all things throughout the day. So you have family, finance, fitness, faith. What am I forgetting? One other from there. But in that fact, if you're giving your space all across all of those there, then ultimately you're not going to be able to fully align that you can find the ability to really focus on all of them at the same time, right? You're going to be in some days where family needs you more. Some day finances need you more. Sometimes your fitness needs you more. Sometimes your faith needs you more. And if you can know that in your right mind, you're going to give the right attention to the right thing, then ultimately everything's going to work out. And right now, family is everything and very important and very meaningful, and which it is. But we also now have kids at home who need the help throughout the day so they can continue to progress. And we're finding what that means each and every day. And Pili's doing a great routine in the morning, but we have 3 different kids at 3 different ages, and they're not far apart, but they're far enough apart that they each need different treatment and different ability to respond correctly.
Well, they need different things at different times. For instance, we're given kind of a day work plan from the school for our oldest. So I follow that, and we try and get done with school by 12. I actually have a pretty strict schedule that we follow every day. But for instance, today it's supposed to storm out. So I was just like, you know what, forget this. It was like 9:30 in the morning. I was like, we're going outside. It's sunny. I don't care about the schedule. So again, with the grace, give yourself grace, have a schedule. I implore you, put yourself on a schedule and then follow it as much as you can. But if you can't, at least you know that these are the things I was supposed to do today. This is what still needs to be done. I will go back to it when I can. So that's how I keep my day and Jason's day, and most of the time he doesn't know it, Jason's day scheduled, so that I know, okay, he's going to be done with certain things by a certain time. I'll be done with certain things at a certain time, because then we need time together.
Yeah. And you have to have your hardest things done up front, right? Because those are the things that get pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. And they're usually the things that ultimately are most important, but sometimes are the hardest thing to do. Make that call, get this assignment out, get this, get underwriting done, or it's some kind of connection level is usually the hardest thing for you to accomplish. So you'll put it off and wait. And when you do, it becomes this thing of not being the most important because you're not giving it the most time. So just get it done and get it over with, and you'll feel so much better.
Yes. I actually want to go back to what you were saying about having things happen to you. So many people that I talk to, And you know what, again, give yourself grace. If you are in this mindset, cool, but try and get yourself out of it. So many people are thinking to themselves, okay, all of this stuff is happening to me. The government is shutting down my businesses because COVID is happening to everybody. All these things are coming down on me. Okay, I get it. We're all going through the same thing. What can you do to flip that switch? How can you make it so this incredibly difficult situation that we all find each other in, how do you turn around and make it into something positive? Something that you can mold and make it into something that is, okay, this is happening to me. How can I make it that it's happening for me? How can I take this moment and turn it into something positive? So for me, I took homeschooling, and which could be something incredibly hard to do. And I made it fun. I made it easy. There was, for instance, my son had some sort of video and then a reading on how to grow flowers, how a plant grows from a seed. So I took that and I put together a whole lesson plan on that. He got to draw and paint and do art and read. And I mean, how can you make it positive? How can you take something that could be stressful and make it positive? And that answer is going to be different for everybody. We are all living separate lives. This is all affecting us differently. And even though it's affecting all of us. So how can you make it positive?
Yeah, we've had some fun things. So the kids have time with both grandparents during the day where they FaceTime with them, and Luke and Lily do Hawaiian immersion class with Pili's parents, and Lily focuses on just really working on her shapes and her letters with my mom. And so it's time that at least the grandparents can now have face-to-face through FaceTime with the kids. So okay, let's look at that, right? They can't see each other, they can't be with each other, but what's the greatest thing that happens now is now they can still have that face-to-face. And if this was 10 years ago, we wouldn't have that ability to even be in front of them. So great, this is great. Now we can put this time where the kids are together, the kids are at peace, the kids are safe, but they're still able to connect with the ones who are most important with them. And as they grow, the grandparents can still watch them grow. Because it's amazing to me that, you know, even for a month we've been home, just the kids have skyrocketed in growth, right?
They're so much bigger, like physically. I feel like they are gotten smarter. And the thing is, like, because my parents live all in Hawaii, we used to call them, you know, once a week or twice a week, but now they talk to my parents every single day. Yeah. So that, again, just a small thing that makes this a little bit more positive, not only for you, but how does that affect my parents? How does that affect my sister and brother, who they talk to more often now? So it's actually become something incredibly positive because we've made these connections. So how can you make these connections, whether it's with your family, whether it's with friends that you haven't seen for a while, whether it's with the world in general? How can this help your business? Yes, I'm hearing over and over again how this is hindering all of our businesses, how people are closing down their businesses, how it's affecting people's mental health. But I think it's because we need to start focusing on what we can do and how life is going to go on after this. How can you take this moment and take your business to the next level? What do you need to do to take your business to the next level? How can you use this time correctly, wisely, and positively?
Well, the thing that Pili's talking about is maybe not everybody's a business owner, but I remember a story of, you know, probably 12 to 14 years ago when I was running this barbecue place, and ultimately we had to fire someone, and that someone has been there a long time. They've been there since we had opened the place. They were great to start, but ultimately just got less and less involved, just weren't the right attitude for the place. But because there was two things working against it, right? They'd been there so long, so we had felt committed to keep them on board. And they had felt like they had been there so long, so they wanted to not let us down. But ultimately, when we had the conversation, it was such a relief for that person because they were holding on to something that ultimately wasn't right for them. So when you look at yourself, maybe this is the chance that you can find out what is right for you. Because maybe you've been in a place where what you thought was right for you all along was just something that you were just filling in because it felt like this is what you do instead of, okay, who am I? And too many times we put our job in line of who we are. And that's just simply not the case. It's just simply not anything that's true, right? You are not your job. You are you. You are your version of yourself that you envision is not ultimately who you are. You are who you are right now. So don't let your job characterize you. Don't let, what you think that role is, that if it was taken away from you, to ultimately make you feel like that's who my identity was, because it's not the case. We have to continue to adapt, continue to just find new ways to build ourselves to the next step of us. So, we're either learning or we're dying. There's no in between. We're not going out there to be better versions of ourselves each and every day. We have to take a hard look at ourselves to understand, is this what we want? Because if we're not fully engaged with what we're doing and we feel like there's something missing, then it's time to really look hard at what is it? What is this thing that we're doing? And if it's the money aspect and you need this money to keep yourself going, well, there's other things you can do that may be better suited for you, that are going to bring you more value. You can be able to put more of your time into, because now you're fully engaged. Maybe you will make a little less money, but maybe you have to look at your lifestyle. Maybe your lifestyle is one that you're buying stuff to show off when no one's really looking at you. Everybody's too worried about themselves. And if their big focus is looking at what you have, and that's what you feel you have to keep up to, it's probably not the right tribe for you to be with anyway. So that's one of the best parts about doing podcasting, doing other parts, is we're able to get connected with so many different individuals and learn so much from other people, and just see how they are adapting as things change, as things progress throughout their lives and through their businesses. Because it's a road of hills and valleys, right? So we're going up, we're going down, we're going up, we're going down. But as we can see that through line throughout, it ultimately gives us the clarity to know that continuing on the process here is going to get us to our final destination, our final goal. So we continue to have trouble with the Facebook Live today. Don't know why it's going up, but we're over here on Instagram and YouTube. This will be on Zoom as well for a future podcast. What else you got?
We'll get you over on onto Facebook one of these days. So connections. I mean, that's really, really what we want to talk about today, how we are all connecting with one another and finding your tribe and connecting with each other, with your family, with your children, and really, really honing in on what's really important. And, beyond all of this, if you are feeling depressed to the point where you need to talk to someone, and I'm only going to say this once because I don't just go see someone, or call someone, call a doctor, call a friend, call somebody, ask to talk to somebody, because this is a really hard time for a lot of people that already have pre-existing issues. So if you don't handle it alone. If you do, find somebody to talk to, please. I implore you, find somebody to talk to. So beyond that, if you have control over your thoughts, over your body, the best thing that I can tell you is to put yourself on a schedule, not only for your family, which I have a pretty rigorous schedule for my children. Put yourself on a schedule for yourself. Make sure you're getting up just a little bit earlier, or talk with your husband, your spouse, your significant other, if you have one, just so you can ask them, okay, if I wake up with the children, please give me some time to take care of what I need to do.
So we'll leave you today with a few things that we try to focus on daily, right? One, being active. Two, being grateful, saying thank you. Three, just finding our time to be quiet and have our mind settle. Four, if I said go outside or be active, but they all go hand in hand. Make sure you're not just condensing yourself, or you're not opening the windows, you're not finding the air, that you're just I guess, nervous to see of the surroundings around you. But today's your day to really push forward, to be your best self, and to take action, and it's to grow together with the ones around you. Find this time that we may never get back again, that we won't get back again, where we can be with the ones that are most important with us. And even if we're not with the other surrounding members of our family, we know they're there. We know they're thinking about us. We know they want to be part of us, and we will get back to that shortly. So make the most of what you have today. Make the most of the lessons that you're learning each day. And I guarantee in a few years, there's going to be some awesome things that you guys are going to do and going to start. And it's going to be huge to talk to you about just the lessons gained from being in this environment for these few weeks, and just finding the solutions to things that ultimately weren't the best case scenario during this.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be awesome if a few months from now, a few years from now, you look back and you're like, wow, during that time I started this amazing ... and now look at where I am now. But that means right now, take this moment, grab onto it, and make the most of it. Choose to make the most of it. Choose to up-level your life. Choose to do that, because it takes your choice.
All right, it's a good spot to end. This is Second Cup of Coffee with Jason and Pili. Of course, go over to Jason Pili Project. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Google Play. Hit the subscribe button. Give us a ratings and review. Love to hear from you. Love to see the message. You can watch us, of course, on YouTube, Instagram. We'll see why Facebook's by giving us headache. But again, thank you for everyone for checking this out. Talk to you shortly.
Bye now.